All right, so today, I know, right? It's exciting. First one. How do you feel? How do you feel being the inaugural person on my podcast?
I feel honored. I feel honored. I'm excited about it. I've never done this.
Nice. Today, my guest is Michelle Tumolo, and we are going to talk everything about injury, her ACL injury, what she did to go through rehab, what kinds of things, mentally, physically, emotionally she went through with that injury. And then just, a little, I have a couple questions that some of my Instagram followers asked. So just a little bit of background on Michelle Tumolo. She started playing your freshman year in high school, right?
Correct.
Okay. And then, and I saw that you had a couple awards in Jersey for that, right?
Yes, it's been a while.
So I'm just going to read them off. All right, so all South Jersey first team in 2008-2009, South Jersey senior all-star team in 2009, and then we went on to Syracuse to play. So tell me a little bit about that experience for you first. Like, what was it like? When did you decide, hey, I want to play? Let's make this happen.
I was in high school. I had a great coach that was coaching a ton of kids that never played lacrosse before. So it was so fresh and new to us. So we were all like so obsessed with it. And I got lucky to, be pushed by a coach that saw potential in me and, made my dreams come true. I was, she pushed me to go to camps, clinics. I was going to Northwestern camps and Maryland camps when I was, just starting out. So being exposed to the best of the best was, probably so vital for me for my decision to take it to the next step. Then played for a club team in South Jersey Select, and I then was going to the Syracuse campus and going to camp there as well, and getting to know more about Gary Gade, and I felt like that was the best fit for me. And obviously he had to seek me out as well, and got lucky to be recruited by them, and I chose them. And even on the snowiest day in January, I fell in love for that place, and it was the best decision of my life. I had the best 4 years of my life.
So you didn't always play lacrosse, obviously, since you didn't start till high school. What other sports did you play?
Yeah, I played soccer since I was like a little peewee. I played softball, hockey. I played basketball my whole life as well, and I played football with my guy friends. I really tried to play in a league, but my mom wouldn't let me. But yeah, I just tried to play all the sports that I could, and I was lucky that my parents pushed me and let me do that because I felt like that was my passion at a very young age, and they let me do whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
And it was, it was fun, even if it was a backyard game or a league organized game. It was something that was meant so much to me, and it's what kind of created who I am, and why I'm a coach now. And I've just been blessed with the opportunity and the coaches that I've been, blessed with, because of that made me that much more in love with the game and sports and all that stuff that goes along with it.
So, like I did the same thing. I didn't start playing. Well, I actually didn't start playing lacrosse till college because we did not have lacrosse in high school in California when I was out there, or Guam for that matter. But yeah, I played basketball. And did it feel like for you that basketball was just like the easiest transition?
Yeah. So I played basketball for my high school, and then I would go right into lacrosse season. And I felt like my footwork was on, just because all the stuff translates.
And that's something that we try and talk a lot about at Body Mechanics too, is getting these kids or teens, to understand that it's okay to play multiple sports. That doesn't mean that you're not going to go play in college. And unfortunately, with the kind of landscape of sports in general now, a lot of kids or even parents think that, if my kid's not playing football since, third grade, or lacrosse since third grade, that they're not going to get a scholarship. And
not sure at all. Like Alyssa Leonard, I know she started like junior year, and she was like a heavy softball player, like almost went to college for it, and then she went and played at Northwestern and won national championships and was an all-American phenomenal player. So it's really cool, and hopefully parents see that.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's actually one of my Instagram followers, Parkview Girls Lacrosse. They had said something. They said, "Can you keep posting about you and Katrina Dowd being better at football?"
Oh, it's tough now that we're not working together every day. We'd love
Yeah.
to get a video going whenever we can. That was like our go-to every day.
Yeah.
Have a football catch. So
Just hanging out on campus.
that's amazing. I love that.
And if you guys haven't seen her do some field goal kicking and touchdown dances, make sure you check out her page to go see that as well.
So, but I gotta maybe do a new one. It's been a bit.
Yeah, now that, does Wagner have a football team?
Yeah, they do. They do.
Okay. Let's go back to the Syracuse stuff. So your senior year, right? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so had 3 great years under my belt at Syracuse. Just coming off a national championship game, going into my senior year, having such great hopes for the year, and we had a great preseason. Kayla Trainer was a freshman at this point. The freshman class was super, super, super talented, and we had super talented people coming back as well. So my 13th game of the season, it was against Cornell on a Tuesday night. I think it was April 16th, 4 p.m. game, and it was about halfway through, not even the first half. And, I was going to ride, and it was something that I pride myself on, is the ride and getting the ball back and cause turnovers in the midfield. And, one of the Cornell defenders was bringing the ball up near their sideline and right in between their sideline and our sideline. And, she went to switch hands and direct the ball backwards. And, that was my opportunity to go check her. So I went to go check her. And as soon as I went to check, I planted my knee, just popped, and I went down. I took another step after that and fell. I watched it over and over and over again, and which is crazy. I don't think I could. I don't know if I could do it now, but right after, I was so intrigued because I wasn't in a great amount of pain. I was just like, whoa, that felt weird, and I kind of fell to the ground, being like, I know what that was. My career might be over, and I just kind of, all the raw emotion came at me, and so that kind of was the the series of events and in the moment when it happened. And so yeah,
in that moment, you said that there was a lot of raw emotion and stuff. What were some of the things that were going through your head?
Yeah, so the doctor ran out, and she actually calmed me. She was just such a calming force, her voice and everything. It was just you're gonna be okay. She just did a few little things right there. It's not like she tested my ACL right then and there, but she was just looking at it, and everything just went silent in the dome. I feel like everyone was just
holding their breath.
And at that point, ACLs were common, but not as they are now. Usually it's oh, that's an ACL, that's an ACL. I don't think anyone thought it at the moment. So for me, I was just in my head and my body, I was just yeah, that didn't feel right. And I've never felt something like that in my life. I've never really been injured. So I got up, I walked off, I was able to walk off. I was actually able to run and everything, which most people can. So I was just, really just thinking about it was kind of every year was flashing through my brain, oh, freshman year, this and that, sophomore year, junior year, and now it's could be over. But I was lucky to have great coaches and teammates to have my back, and great doctors and trainers as well to kind of help me out.
So, a lot of times with ACL injuries, and we're just going to kind of go into a little bit about what ACL injuries are. So I'm going to share my screen here. All right. So for everyone watching out there that doesn't know, your ACL is this front ligament here, your anterior cruciate ligament. So you have 4 ligaments that go around your knee that kind of help stabilize along with the meniscus. And that ACL right there is the one that prevents that femoral glide and also that tibial shift. So the tibia kind of sliding forward on the femur or vice versa. And that's a job of the hamstrings as well. But so you can see here, a lot of times what happens to ACL, it doesn't have to be a contact injury. It can be a non-contact injury. But it's a lot of that plant pivot motion tends to make that ACL tear. And like you were saying, when you planted and pivoted to try and get that check there, that's when you got that little twist happening. Is that right?
Yeah.
Depending on how severe that kind of torsion is in the knee, the ACL, the fibers kind of go in with that medial meniscus. Same thing with the MCL. So usually, if it's pretty severe twist or rotation, then all 3 of those things get injured. So it was good that it was mainly just the ACL, and that can also help your recovery time too. So so and this is kind of the nerd doctor in me, but what kind of graft did you have?
I have patellar tendon.
Okay. How did you feel about the patellar tendon graft?
You know, I went to a doctor that I had heard of great things about. His name is Dr. O'Brien, Stephen O'Brien, in Hospital for Special Surgery. And I had heard he had done a ton of the Northwestern players' knees, and he did my my teammate Alyssa Murray's knee. So I just had just everyone was like speaking so highly of him, and he only does patellar tendon. So I trusted him. I didn't really know much about it. I kind of was just like, okay, whatever you think is right for me. I have not had much issue at all.
Okay. Awesome.
And yeah, so I I trusted in him and went down and did it a couple months later after I waited months to do my surgery. So we can kind of get into that after. But yeah, so I kind of just trusted in him and his practice.
Was there other teammates that you had? Like you had mentioned one of your teammates had torn her ACL. Was there others while you were there at school?
Yeah, actually a ton. Alyssa did hers in high school, so I wasn't around, and she was just coming back from it once she got to school. Then we had, when I was a freshman, we had 2 done seniors did it pretty close together. Taylor Gate did hers like 6 times, so I saw her having to get back and like, oh, that kid has been through everything. And then another one of my teammates, Mallory Vihard, did it. I'm sure I'm missing some of them, but yeah, there is a few.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is prominent, especially in women's sports. I feel like I get a lot of girls that come in with knee pain, especially. But a big thing that doesn't happen a lot with either physical therapy beforehand or even in the strength and conditioning realm of with trainers and stuff is that we're not working a lot on those lateral movements and actually. Because ACLs, MCLs, PCL, all that stuff, those ligaments can actually get stronger with the stress that you put on them, but you have to like controlled stresses versus, constantly doing these things over and over that you already have bad mechanics with, whether it's jumping, landing, pivoting, and anything like that where that knee is twisting. Right. And then you keep doing the same things to it and you don't have the mechanics, it's gonna wear on it. And then it's just a matter of time before it pops on you. But what kinds of things, and I mean, obviously at Syracuse, you guys, who do you remember who your strength and conditioning coach was at the time?
Yeah, her name was Veronica Dyer. She competed for I want to say track back in the day, and she was very very, very like jacked, awesome strength coach. So yeah, I had her for all 4 years, I'm pretty sure. And, that was something that was new to me, though. Like, lifting and all that, like, I didn't do that in high school. Not much. And I just wasn't very, like, educated on it. So that's something, if I were to go back and, like, really, really hone in on it, would be, like, making sure that I'm in the best strength state that I could be. Like, she did a great job, but I think I didn't take it as serious as I should have. Yeah. I see it now as a coach and, just the way the body needs to be strong and all that stuff. I probably was a reason that I got her. But yeah, she was great though.
I think it's important, especially, current college kids, to know that if your strength and conditioning coach or whoever is, trying to teach you certain ways, like you should be doing it that way.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think, once I left, they got a new strength coach and he was great as well. And they really stressed about knee prevention. Like, all that stuff. And we didn't do that before. So I think they saw like how often we were tearing them, and Gary like really invested in like making sure that we were doing the right thing. So then when I went back to coach there, that was like something they did like every day. And I don't think they've had as many ACLs.
Okay, so let's go on to some questions just based on the ACL stuff. So like you already talked about a little bit, if you would have taken the strength stuff a little bit more seriously. What do you, like, even as a coach now, what are the kinds of like steps that you take or things that you talk about to your players, that you wish you would have known?
Yeah, I definitely think like my eating habits probably too as well, just like making sure I'm eating healthy, like pre-workout stuff, like post-workout stuff, just being overall healthy. And I think, if I were to know or be more educated on that when I was in school, it's just kind of the times that I was in school. It's tough, right? You can't prevent any injury really, but like I think that probably would have helped for sure. And now being a coach, we talk about that all the time. Our strength staff is unbelievable at Wagner. Our strength coach Ian Jones is always talking about that preventative stuff and whatnot. And I think it's helped a lot. We've only had, knock on wood, but we've only really had one in since I've been here. So and that was kind of like the end of the season kind of thing. So yeah, I would definitely say being like overall healthy, making sure I'm doing the little things to prevent. But again, I was a college athlete. I probably I just need to be told to do those.
Yeah, I mean, I know when I was in college, I didn't eat the greatest either. It was
right. I'm like, oh my gosh,
get whatever you can get
all the time.
Mine was like Pop-Tarts and cereal. And now I'm like, man, imagine how good I could have, like, how much better I would have been if
I'm like, holy cow. Now everyone's like so lucky they have nutritionists and that are doing all this stuff. I think it maybe would have.
Yeah. And it could have helped, like with recovery and stuff too, like inflammation and things like that. So, Steph Schenkel, right? Super Steph 10.
Yes.
So her question, she wanted to ask, were you included at practices, like when you were injured?
All the time. I was a captain, so I was always included. I was always right there cheering people on, and I felt like I almost like stepped into a coaching role with Gary and Reg and Katie Rowe, and it was a kind of an awesome experience because I kind of got to coach before I was a coach, and just be there for my teammates, and was just trying to be as positive as possible because they were awesome and they all had my back, and I was doing rehab stuff as I was at practice too because I was trying to play actually on it. So I was kind of involved. There was times I was doing sprints and all that stuff and just really trying to be involved as well because they were going, at that point, we were going to the NCAA tournament and the Big East tournament and all that stuff. So, it was obviously hard because I wasn't on the field, but I wanted to be there for my teammates. So yeah, I was involved with everything.
Did you always know you wanted to be a coach, or was that kind of something that helped spark it?
I didn't at first. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do going into college, and then once I just really realized how much of an impact my coaches have given to me, that opportunity of playing at that level, I wanted to give that to people as well, and share my knowledge, and I got the opportunity to coach at University of Florida right out of college, so that was like the best of the best. So I got really lucky, and I think that's I've only been growing and growing because of the people that I've been coaching alongside. So definitely didn't know, but then it kind of hit me once I was at Cuse.
Well, I mean, I think it's important, especially now with all these lacrosse programs coming up. Like it's
exactly.
I think it's great to have players that have actually played at higher levels and played in college. Like here in Florida, it's hard for us to coach, especially the few of us that have played in college can't teach all the kids all the time. But right. I mean, it's part of why we open the Lax Box. So hopefully,
yeah, amazing. I gotta come down to it.
Yeah,
so
yeah. At some point, you gotta come down here.
So cool.
So all right, so you went through PT because you wanted to play on it, so you hadn't had surgery yet. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about that. Because I've worked with a couple athletes that have torn their ACL, and they were kind of like at that tail end too. I actually just got an email from someone the other day asking me about that, and I was like, there's a couple options, mm-hmm. And I think coming from an athlete's perspective on that, like, did you talk to the ortho beforehand, or did you already decide like I'm gonna play on it? I don't care what the ortho says.
Yeah, like I kind of was like that. I was kind of like immature about it. Not really. It was kind of like my emotions taking me over. Like, it's my last season at Syracuse. Like, I wanted to try to do it. Like Hillary Bowen did it, and she was the MVP of that Final Four. Like, that is what I saw in high school. So I'm like, why not? Why can't I? Yeah. I even reached out to Hillary Bowen. She sent me like the nice email back. She's the nicest human being ever. And that's what like motivated me as well, because it was becoming like playoff season and whatnot. And they did, like Syracuse did, they let me, but at practice at one day I did, like, my knee slipped and I was in like so much pain because I was like, I think my my bones hitting each other, and I think from then they were like, I don't know if it's going to be actually like possible. That was like a brace on it, but I had it really wrapped up and taped up, I think I maybe would have been able to do it. But honestly, my team, to be honest, didn't even really need me. Kayla Trainer and Alyssa Murray were going off. Katie Webster, we had phenomenal players. So I may have even hurt them because I would have been like dragging the leg behind. So, but they did let me. And then that one day I practiced, it was kind of like discouraging a little bit. But that was just, I understand now looking back. I'm like, I have to make a, professional decision on there. And I have to like, obviously it's like my passion and my life. But I did get to run on the field one last time. We were beating Florida by like 5 or 4 in the last minute. And we had the ball and Gary put me in to say like the last goodbye to the Dome because then we were going to the Final Four. So I at least got to touch the ball one more time with my heart pounding. It felt like I never played lacrosse before. Like,
don't touch me, don't touch me.
I'm like, Ruben.
Awesome. So then after your senior year at Syracuse, what were your thought processes about lacrosse after that and the injury?
So I did wait to get surgery because I wanted to play. And then I was like, I don't want to go through summer. I want to be able to walk around and do things this summer. So I went into summer with ACL still torn. I felt like completely normal though. I was still playing. Like I would play basketball and stuff and I'd be fine. Which is probably shouldn't have done all that stuff, but I was in really good shape going into surgery. Yeah. So that was really good. So I got it done in August. And I had gotten the job at Florida, so I knew I was going down there. And so I got the surgery, and then once I was, able to go down, I drove down with my brother with my knee all puffed up and everything. And, once I got there, I knew I wanted to play lacrosse again because I was still currently kind of on the U.S. team. I had gotten cut from the World Cup team in 2013 and then tore my ACL, so it kind of was like a silver lining in a way. Yeah. And then, I kind of had this fire about me of like the comeback story, right? Like come back from an injury, try out again, see if I can make it, and it was the best, best decision I ever made to go out again and not be defeated by being cut. People get cut all the time. Yeah. So I did that and, it wasn't easy. I was coming back, like felt like I was so much heavier than I was. Like I felt so much slower. It was just like not so natural. So it took me quite a bit. But, I got lucky and, made the team and was able to keep training and getting better.
So, we got a question from another Instagram person, Janine Beeson. Oh, that's one of my teammates that I play with over international in the summer. Oh. So she says or asks, what mental tool do you use to push yourself to perform well in a game or practice when you are also safeguarding a previous injury? For example, like when you tried out for the USA team the second time.
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of mental, strength is like what needs to come over you because every step I'm like, am I going to tear it again? Am I going to get hurt? Like, and that was what went through my head. And to be honest, the first tryout, I did a move and my knee went, and I was like, oh my God. And I was in so much pain and everyone was like, holy cow. They thought I did it again, but it was real, like, I think it was the cartilage all built up and it was like,
scar tissue.
Scar tissue. And that was pain. So I was like, oh my gosh, like this isn't what I've felt before. I went and saw my doctor again. He was like, you're fine. It's just like, that's natural. There was a lot of mental hurdles. It wasn't easy, right? It wasn't like, get back. You had a great career at Syracuse. So you're going to be great again. Like it wasn't that. It was literally learning how to run, cut, dodge again. And that came with, a lot of practice and a lot of, training down at Florida while I was coaching. And it was definitely a lot of like, okay, like there's worse injuries and worse things out there. Take a breath. You're going to be fine. And that's kind of how I went through it, and I was thinking like there's injuries that people can't even play the sport they love anymore. Like people are lucky to come back from ACLs 1, 2, 3, like they could still play. Like, yes, some like can't really come back, but like I just kept talking to myself and being like, there's worse out there. Like you're going to be fine. You got this. Like it's not like an easy recovery. It takes some time. So, it was more like that mental training of positive talk, and taking a deep breath and, really leaning on your teammates and coaches when you need to. It's okay to need people to help you. So that's kind of how I went through it all. And I'm lucky that I have great teammates and coaches.
You feel like your teammates and your coaches really helped you to kind of get past those mental blocks or those tough days that you're experiencing?
For sure, for sure. I had a great experience at Syracuse with like the culture and the team. We were best friends on and off the field. It didn't have to be about lacrosse to be best friends, but that is what made us come together. And they didn't blink an eye to make sure I was picked up, and they had my back, and it just made it that much easier. And they're just still my best friends, so it's clear that they're great people.
So kind of, going through like all the mental stuff that you had to go through. And even, I'm sure like sometimes it's in the back of your mind now, but
Yeah.
When you were trying out, is there any like tools or anything you can think of now that you were like, man, that would have really helped? Like if I could have written this out, or if I could have heard from this person, or if I could have seen this video. I wrote a book that's kind of talks, it's like a journal, and it kind of talks about like restoring your mindset and stuff like that before you even get into doing the things that you were doing before.
Yeah. I was trying to talk to a lot of people that have done it. So like Kelly Berger had torn her ACL like 3 times, and she was on my team. So she was someone that called me right away, and I would talk to her at trainings. Alyssa Murray had done it, and just trying to like talk to them and be like, okay, what did you go through? Like, how do I get through this? And now I feel like there's ACL videos out there all the time, and I follow my team, ortho on US team, Karen Sutton.
Yeah, she's great.
Amazing, and she's always putting like pictures and videos, and I'm like, oh my god, that's what it looks like in there. Like that's so cool. And I definitely had no idea like what it like was or took to prepare and all that stuff at the time. So now I feel so much more educated. And so I just really leaned on my teammates that had been through it and kind of asked like what to expect. But I wish there were, at that time, it was 2015, not that it was that long ago, but 6 years ago. It's crazy.
That's a long
that
time.
I feel like it wasn't as like talked about, or wasn't as like, Instagram wasn't even as popular then. So now it's so much more popular, and things are so much more like accessible to see and view.
I think that's super important too, just like you said, knowing that you aren't alone in the journey, or like you weren't the only one that's going through this. But especially to come back, like you said, from something like that, it's a lot. It's a lot to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
A social worker that I know down here that works with a lot of athletes, she had a question. She said, what supports, if any, did you or would you seek to keep your mind healthy, like when you were resting and recovering from your injury?
That was like my teammates, leaning on my teammates. I was on the couch for hours and hours, and my family was around me, and they helped me so much. But that was really leaning on my teammates at that point, because I had just graduated too. So like obviously I tore it, right? So I was still at school and we were still playing, and like I just really was rehabbing, or not really rehab. It was like getting me ready for surgery, but rehabbing. So leaning on my teammates and my trainers then. And then once I really got surgery, that was kind of like a dark time, because I had graduated, I was done college, I was away from my 33 best friends, and that point I was just like, whoa, like I kind of went through like a really like nervous state, and that really like I leaned on my family a lot there, because I kind of got like homesick being far away and all that stuff, and because I was going through this recovery and all that stuff kind of on my own. I was with Florida though, so that's kind of what helped me too. I was with Amanda Leary and Erica Aguero Bamford now, and the whole team, and they were awesome as well. But it was like this feeling of like graduating and being away from your friends, and then like having an injury that like just feeling so like, what now? But I would lean on my family and friends a lot. And my, then when I went to Florida, I had my PT down there. He was awesome. So I leaned on him a lot too. And he like knew when I was having a bad day. He just be like, all right, take it slow. You got this. It wasn't like super hard on me, because he knows how mental it is as well. So lean on all those people.
Did you do any other kinds of therapies, or like, I don't know, acupuncture, or see a sports psychologist or anything like that, like before you?
I did not. I probably should have. And now thinking back, now being a coach, like that, those things are so accessible to athletes now. And I felt like I didn't use those resources, and I probably should have. People always say like, you don't need to be like sick or like mentally really sick to like be seen by those people. You can just, it could be any normal athlete. And I think that I probably should have at that time, because I felt so lonely, but I wasn't. It was just kind of like a life thing too as well. But yeah, going through that recovery without much is tough. But I definitely should have used those resources, but I didn't. And now, like at Wagner, we push that all the time, and because it's so common in sports, and especially female, to need those people. So I should have, but I did not.
Tell me about your decision to go pro.
Was it even a decision? Oh my gosh, so cool that the people that have worked so hard to make it a possibility for us to be pro athletes. And I wear this with pride. It's
and then I gotta get one of those.
I know you do. You might not have that in the context. It's the Gildan Soft Styles tees. Yeah. The best. But yeah, the decision to go pro, again, another opportunity to play a sport we love, and on the greatest stage and with the best of the best. And it's just been such an awesome experience so far, and I'm hoping that this summer is even better than the last. And obviously the Fire, we need to put some W's on the board, but I think this summer we're going to turn it around. But yeah, just another opportunity. And if you think about it across the board, how many people have done their ACLs and still able to play pro is really awesome. And just coming back kind of better than ever. We had that article come out with US Lacrosse about my ACL, and I've said that for so many years now since it came out, just like coming back better than ever, because you can. And that's kind of how that's gone for my experience. So it's been awesome.
Do you have advice for young athletes striving to play at a higher level, or advice for them recovering from an injury?
Yeah, for sure. I always say my advice would be, it sounds so cliche, but like dream big, and like don't ever question your dream, because I had dreams when I was younger, and I never thought like I would actually get to it, be it playing a D1 sport at the level I was. But it was a dream of mine, and I achieved it. And definitely lean on the people that are trying to help you, your teammates and your coaches, and take everything what they say and learn from it, and learn from experiences. Not everything's going to be perfect. We didn't win a ton of games in high school, but it didn't make me not love the sport. So make sure that you're learning from all your experiences and your teammates and your coaches, and dream big. Never think that any dream is too big, and go out for those clinics or those camps or those teams that you think that you can't make, because I definitely didn't think I could make the US team, and when my number was on that board, I was like but I only tried out because of my coach. I was like, that is my number, right? But Gary told me, one day he's like, you should try out for the S team. And I was like, what? But yeah, follow your dreams. And then, injury wise is don't let it defeat you. I know you're going to go through tough days. You're going to go through dark times, but lean on your coaches and teammates to get you through, and your family and friends. And just know it gets better. No injury is the worst thing that could happen to you. There's always things that can help you get better at, going to PT and your doctors and your surgeons, and making sure you're talking to them and asking questions, and, just getting better every single day. It's baby steps, right? It's not going to be better like that. So I definitely knew that once I was, recovering. I was like, oh my God, why is stepping up one step the hardest thing for me right now? I started tearing up. I was like,
I'm never going to do it.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. So.
Yeah. If you can prevent those injuries or even reduce the likelihood of injuries, I do screens for kids all the time, and I'm like, whoa, like if this kid keeps jumping like this, something not so good's going to happen,
Right.
And it might not happen now, it might not happen in the next year, but that's the time to start, seeing professionals that, health professionals that know what they're doing. That's one of my things that I'm really trying to get people to understand, is just because you're 13, 14 or whatever, you shouldn't be doing the same things that adults do if you don't know how to do a push-up, or you don't know how to jump and land on both feet. Official lax girl, right?
Yes.
Tari, she wanted to know, how do you balance playing for the national team and coaching, and when you have to play for Fire?
Great question. I'm lucky that my job allows me to do that, and my team has been so supportive about like if I have to leave and whatnot, and they think it's so cool. It feels weird leaving them, but they understand, and they think it's so cool. So I go, and I'm representing my country, so it's I make sure I schedule my schedule to make sure that I'm not putting fall ball dates when I need to go for USA, or I'm trying not to miss any practices. So maybe I'll give them off when I'm, gone. And I did that this fall, and also playing for the Fire. I'm very lucky that it's usually based around recruiting weekend. So I'm there anyway. So I just pop over, play, and then I recruit as well. So yeah, there's really no days off on this job. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's amazing. I get to do everything with ease, and my boss at Wagner is amazing, and he's like pushes me to do everything. So I'm lucky. I don't have.
I'm sure that's pretty cool for him to be like, yeah, my lacrosse coach is a professional and Team USA player, whatever. No big deal.
He supports. He's awesome.
Okay, so as a coach, how do you keep your players healthy? I mean, obviously you have like a huge support system doing that, but what do you do in particular? What do you teach, preach, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. I preach to them to eat healthy and talk to our nutritionist as well. And then, prehab and rehab is super important, making sure they're seeing our trainers after or before if any kind of injury is nagging them or whatnot. And then talking to our strength staff, our strength coach, Ian Jones, and just making sure that they're communicating with him as well. And then on my end as a coach, I make sure that they're not practicing more than 2 hours a day when we're at practice. Obviously they can shoot and whatnot on their own, but I have a 2-hour practice limit. And I think that helps with the load management on their legs. And I think it's super important because it's a long season, right? And I think that to have them most healthy is to make sure we're not going through practices 3.5 hours a day and just like, then they're tired, they're not as focused, they're not as sharp. So I go through 2 hours a day, and yes, it might be quick for some people, but I think that we get a great amount out in that 2 hours, and their bodies are fresh and ready to go, and making sure they're preaching them, drinking water, and getting good sleep. Not everyone's going to get great sleep, but just preaching that and making sure that they know.
You don't sleep much in college? What? I think it definitely helps, like when you've played in college and kind of that routine and yeah. And then you're like,
yeah,
all
I'm
right.
reasonable, as people would say. I'm very reasonable.
That's good.
I'm definitely hard on them. No, it doesn't make me soft, but I'm hard on them in the sense of urgency and passion and trying very hard at every practice and whatnot, and just being the right, good person, whatnot. So.
Kind of going off of that passion stuff a little bit, how do you, as a coach, try and pull that out of them?
Every day I come with enthusiasm, and I make sure they know like what came before them in the history of Wagner and why we are where we're at. And if they want to be a part of that they need to buy in. It doesn't mean that they need to be a starter or the best player on the team. It just means to give every single day the little bit of ounce of energy they have in them, or the most they have in them, and just be a good teammate, right? Cheer on your teammates and give everything you got in practice, because you never know like when the opportunity might come for them to be, that next person in line, or the starters to get better, right? Or the people that are pushing them to get better. And, and I think that that's helped in the past year in our culture. And that's why we were 16-4 last year. I can honestly say that it's not because of X's and O's. It's because of them buying in and realizing like, I believe you can beat anyone. Like, you need to believe it. Like, you're the ones playing. And if I believe it, like, why don't you?
Yeah.
They've gotten that, and they now realize like, okay, coach is serious. We're not just like here to just win the, against our conference because that's like who our level is. It's like, no, like we can go and beat anyone. And if you put your mind to it, then it can happen, but you also have to put the work in, and it doesn't just happen because you show up to practice and we say we can beat the teams we can. So just kind of seeing that vision and presenting it to them and being like, oh, okay, that can happen. And, giving it to them every single day, they feed off of that. So it's been great.
All right. So I hope that everyone got a little bit more understanding of ACL injuries, a little bit more of, the things that you go through mentally and physically and how to come out of those from Michelle. I want to say thank you for being here. I think this was awesome. I'm excited to, get all this together and put out the info. And I'm super happy that you were like, yes, I'll do it first time. So.
For sure. Well, I want to thank you too. And if anyone's watching and has any questions or whatever, you can either reach out to Meg or myself, right to my social media. I try to answer people definitely about ACL injuries as well, because I want to help anyone I can. But thanks for having me on. It was awesome.
Thanks so much.